Um, show hands, how many of you have worked with DotNetNuke Professional or Enterprise Edition already? Okay, so I'm going to show you a couple of features real quick in a bird's eye view that have been in PE for a very long time already, and then go on to the new features in 6.1. So one of the features that our customers really like is the granular permission model, which is implemented primarily in the HTML module, which is used by 80% of the customers as the main module of the website. And if you look at the permissions for the modules, you'll see that there are a couple of more settings available than in just the CE version, which means that you can define, okay, this person can actually just edit content, but he cannot delete the content, or he cannot export the content, which makes it much easier for an organization to just have content editors that do not have any rights to delete modules from pages. They can just edit the content in the modules. In CE, you will have to give someone edit rights, and if he has edit rights on the module, he can actually delete the module, which is something you do not always want or trust people to do. Another interesting feature of the HTML Pro feature is that you can create your own workflows. So by default, there's one extra workflow, which is the content approval, which is already by default defined and has 3 steps in it instead of just 2. But the interesting thing is that you can actually edit the workflows, or you can create a completely new one. So you can use different workflows on different modules or different pages, and you can add extra steps. So extra roles in the organization can be set up to approve content in different stages. Another interesting feature of the professional edition is the caching feature, which is set up. The default setup is in the host settings, which is a little bit similar as in the CE version, but there's one extra setting here. Hold on, that's under advanced performance. You can select a different caching provider here. So in the CE version, there's only the file caching provider, and in the professional editions, you can select database or memory caching provider. And the cool thing about using a memory caching provider is that it's much faster than the file caching provider. And if modern servers have enough memory anyways, so you can put all the cache in memory, and you don't have to use file system anymore to handle your caching. And the real benefit of that is when you're in a web farm situation, because in a web farm, when cache is written to file, you need to, the web request caching provider make sure that the cache is synchronized between servers, but usually in a typical situation, they both write to the same file system. So cache files are written to the same file system, so there's a lot of traffic going on from the different servers in the web farm to the one file system. And if you use the memory caching provider, then all of that traffic is not happening anymore. So the total performance of the site will be much faster as well, because the underlying file system doesn't have to handle all those caching requests anymore. And an extra feature or an extra bonus in that is that you can turn off the purge cache task in the task scheduler, because that's actually just used for the for the file system. So if you look at the task scheduler, you'll see two tasks here that is specifically used to purge the file cache that's used to cache pages and modules. The one is purge module cache and the other is purge output cache. And you only need to have those tasks running if you're using the file caching, because this task actually, the only thing it does is actually deleting files for cache that's not current anymore. If it's in memory caching, then there's just a simple command, purge from memory, which is automatically. That's built in the caching provider. So this again is an extra performance feature because that saves you from running two tasks every 30 minutes. So in host settings you set the default values for caching, and then per page and per module you can set the specific setting for that caching. So if you go to page settings, under advanced settings, there's a cache. So this is not in CE either. In CE you cannot set cache settings by default unless you have a caching provider installed. So you can install a caching provider in CE, but we do not provide it. So you need to build one yourself or get one or buy one from someone that did. I don't believe there are caching providers for page level available, by the way. So you can just choose the provider that you want to use here. Set a timeout, and then you can also include query string parameters in this cache setting. So if you have, for instance, a blog module or an articles module or a shop module or something like that uses query string parameters to show the correct content, you can add those query string parameters here, and the cache will actually then be done by per the value of that query string variable. A little bit careful there. If you have a shop or a catalog that has a lot of different selectors, then your cache usage might grow exponentially depending on how much content you have. So you should be a little bit careful there. But these two features, so the granular permissions, or these three, granular permissions, workflow, and caching, those are really the features that sell DotNetNuke PE for us, because these are really features that our customers typically want. So this is an enterprise edition. So what's in here is what's been talked about before, the SharePoint connector that's in here. And there's also a content staging feature in here. I'm not going to show how content staging works, but it's quite simple. It works with the portal export feature we already have in the older DotNetNuke versions. And content staging pushes a portal export to a different server that imports the portal template automatically and updates pages, modules, and files in the file system automatically based. So that gets pushed from one server to the other. That's how it works in theory. The problem we've had is that, as you all know, portal template export and import doesn't always work as expected. And we wanted the content staging feature to always work. So what we did is implement it only for the HTML module. So sorry?
Yeah, you depend basically on the portal implementation of portal.
Yes. Yeah. So it depends on the portal export feature of the. And if a module doesn't implement it correctly, then or at all, then it doesn't work. So that's the downside right now. Luckily, our customers that use this feature use the HTML module for more than 90% of the website, and only that module, so they're fine with the current implementation. We are working towards getting support for other modules as well. So in the future, you will be able to make sure that your module actually works with our content staging feature, which adds an extra ability for you to sell your own modules, because you can say to your customer, look here, my module works with content staging, so just buy the enterprise edition and get my module with it. My module is much cheaper than the enterprise edition, so why not just buy it? That's the only thing I will say about pricing of commercial editions. I'm lucky to not work in the sales department, so let's go to the new features. There's one new feature in 6.1 that I didn't hear anyone talk about yet, and that's the performance enhancement that integrates CSS files and JavaScript files into one file. So if you look at the output of a page and look for CSS, for instance, hold on. Yeah, that's one that I'm going to show. There's something strange going on with my scroll bar. Yeah. So what you see here is that there's a dependency handler .axd, which is new in DNN 6.1, and what this one actually does is combine all the CSS files in a page to one CSS file, which makes it much faster because the browser doesn't need to download all those different CSS files anymore and all those different JavaScript files. So, and now I hope I won't get into trouble. Chances are that this doesn't work either. So first, let's look at the traffic of the old 6.0 version in Fiddler. So if you look at the timeline, it's a little bit small, but you'll see a lot of JavaScript files, a lot of CSS files that are being loaded, and this is not even a very interesting page because this is just a home page, so there's not really a lot of CSS files. Typically, you will have a couple of custom modules that load their own CSS files, even module CSS. Every module can have its own module CSS file, and which gets loaded automatically. The skin might have a couple of CSS files. So if you look at the statistics of this page, there are 55 files downloaded, and that's from the Getting Started page. So if I go to the new version, also the Getting Started page, let's clear out this first. Cannot be right. No, it's still waiting. It's waiting for something to... Yeah, that's better. Hold on, one more time. So that was surely a double count. Sorry, yes, absolutely. Logging out here. Well, as you can see, the list is already much shorter because I'm not even have to scroll to see everything. Actually, just on that simple page, the count is already 10 files less, which might not mean a lot, but to a browser, every millisecond counts, especially if you're going to mobile. So every file that needs to be downloaded adds to the total time of that page having to build up. So typically you will see that in the long wait is here because it's downloading one video file, so that's why there's a long wait in between there. But overall, that one page will already load a lot faster. So yeah, correct. Yeah. So that's a hidden feature of 6.1, which you will probably come to love, and it's in CE as well. So, but you will definitely love that feature. And talking about single features single reasons to upgrade to a new version. To me, this is already a single reason to upgrade to the new version.
Exactly. I'd like to add something here. I didn't know about that feature, but it's incredibly important. Ihr könnt euch das vielleicht gar nicht vorstellen, aber ein Browser darf normalerweise nur sehr wenige Verbindungen gleichzeitig öffnen zum Server. Und je mehr kleine Dateien er bekommt, genau 2. Und das ist eigentlich der Grund, warum das so problematisch ist. Er muss warten, bis das erste File zurückkommt, bevor er das nächste File anfordern kann. Und ob er also 100 Anforderungen machen kann mit nur 2 Kanälen und immer warten muss und zack, 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 oder ob man das auf 50 reduzieren kann, macht einen riesen Unterschied.
Yeah. So the internal discussion in our team, especially in our engineering team, but also combined with the sales team, of course, is what can we do as DotNetNuke to make ourselves better than our competitors? And well, Drupal is, for instance, one of our competitors. And one thing that we were very happy about last week was that our score in YSlow is actually 1 point better than Drupal. So we're close to a score of 90, 95, 96, 97, something like that in YSlow, which is very good for a content management system. So yeah, please upgrade to 6.1 as soon as it comes out, because you will really see much performance enhancements in your own website. The other feature that was talked about already was the mobile support. And I need to log on here for that. So in the commercial editions, there is some extra support for the mobile feature. How the hell could I type that wrong? So in the admin menu, we have 2 new items. One is the device preview management, and the other is site redirection management. In the device preview management, you can define which devices your site supports. And by default, we already have a couple of devices defined. It's my hope that we will get a couple of more devices in here, because I find out that my phone is not in here. So it's apparently it's too advanced. But if you're an Apple aficionado, then you should be fine, because I saw iPhone 4, iPhone 3, iPad 2, so you should be fine. But there are a couple of Android devices missing here. And you can add your own devices. So if your customer has a specific device, or you see, hey, I see people coming in with specific devices, those are not being handled correctly, then you can add those definitions here. Should be quite easy to create a generic handler, because on Android, there are usually, you can just check is there Android in the user agent, you're fine. So once you set this up, you can use that to create a redirect from a normal page to a mobile page. DotNetNuke 6.1 comes with a special mobile skin, and you can easily redirect your users from a normal page to a special mobile page for that device. And so that's built in the PE and the EE editions. In CE, you can build your own tooling to do the same. So you could use 2.6 tooling to get the same features actually. Yeah, that's it. So those were a couple of interesting features in PE and enterprise. There are a lot more differences. I actually had one slide about that. Let me show you. So this is a comparison between the community edition and the professional editions. And as you can see, the professional editions really target professional customers, which is not to say that with CE you cannot handle a professional website, but in the commercial editions we make it a little bit easier if you have a large website or a customer that has a little bit more need to get a package that already contains all those features. In CE you can build it all yourself, but it takes more time and there's more money as well. So money-wise, there's not much difference between a commercial edition that has certain features or building a CE version with the same functionality. There's not much money difference there. That's it.